Good evening everyone, welcome here in Portimao for tonight's round of the Simverse.com Pro Series in Le Mans Ultimate. I'm Cristian Romano, and for tonight I'll be your voice for the next hour and a half or so of racing. As I already said, we are in Portimao, we are in the Circuito do Algarve, to be exact. This racetrack was actually present even in the half season that we had the first half season, let's say, prior to this full season that has more prizes on the line, but we'll get that point later on. For now, just okay, just some informations about the beautiful track in Portugal. This track is actually used in a very long list of categories. So we've got obviously the MotoGP that takes place here quite commonly every year since 2020 only, to be effect. Oh, it's already 6 years. Oh god, sometimes I forget that 2020 was 6 years ago. So yeah, effectively it is. It has been a good time that the MotoGP has been here. Then there is a LMS, obviously, here since the 2017, where the 4 hours of Portimao takes place, but also Superbike, GT World Challenge, that will take place here for the first time in 10 years. Then there is going to be also Formula 1 in 2027, but formerly it also held some WEC rounds, TCR, DTM, and that's about the entire list of things. The entire circuit, 4.6 kilometers long, 15 turns, and as you can see also on the very first phase of the racetrack, there are some differences. The major one is the hairpin at turn 5, which in motorcycle racing is slightly behind compared to, as you can see here in the image, just there, the very first hairpin is the MotoGP one, and the second one is for vehicles. And also there is a bit of a difference in turn number 1, but the motorcycle circuit is just shorter, though it doesn't really change that much, but the very first chicane there is not being used currently. But as I said, the circuit has a very good history. It's actually quite recent. Only opened in 2008. Sorry, but ultimately it has become sort of a very good racing facility, even because there is a university here in this very region that effectively has its sort of university of the vehicle here, in which there is also a campus, if I remember correctly, that effectively has some lessons even at the racetrack for some type of courses. But that should be it for the trivias about this racetrack. As I said, this has also been used in the pre-season, so this is not really a new track for our drivers. Now, as always, let me just see if everything is starting to work. Okay. Speaking of results from last time, here are the results from Paul Ricard. As you can see here, with Axel Ramone, Mark Sidoruk and Valentin Kalkov in the podium in GT3, with Joseph Kuffel and David Nasgirashvili in the top 5. McLaren, Lambo, Porsche and Mercedes at the top 5. Realistically, we could see an effective repetition of what happened last week around. And then in Hypercar, this has been the situation in Hypercar at last round. Kobe Chan won once again in his Aston Martin, then Sven Gilhead and Paul Noski followed behind to complete the podium. Arda Erkan in the Toyota and Moritz Ulrich in the Cadillac to complete the top 5. Effectively 4 different cars in the top 5, and if you consider the top 6, it is 5 different cars in the top 6. 16 drivers last time around in the Hypercar field. It shouldn't be that much different tonight. just need the password, otherwise I can't join the lobby. Unfortunately, I have to do multiple things at a time, so apologies if I am not entirely... I need you, otherwise I can't find the lobby. Control B. Fantastic. It perfectly worked. I am goated. Okay, password is set, and I am effectively on the server. Nice. Back to the results. Now that they will cycle through. Just give it a second. Okay, thank you very much. As you can see, it was a very close battle for the podium. 6.3 seconds the gap between Kobe-chan and Sven Killed, but only 4 attempts. Gil had Tunowski with Erkan and Ulrich following in 4th, quite gap there, and then there was a huge battle for 6th place. Realistically, we could see a repetition of last time with Chan just flying out into the distance, but surprises are always behind a corner. In the standings, things are starting to take shape. Niklas Huben, Joseph Kufel and David Nasirashvili are the podium sitters at the moment, but the gap between Kufel and Nasirashvili is literally 0 points, with Clemens Kitzel also at 0 points. They are all tied together for 2nd place. Effectively, only Huben is ahead of the competition, but only 100 points are gapping him to the rest of the field, effectively. Then we've got Luis Barto, David Rancagno, Eric Delfanti in 7th place, quite gapped, but still 300 points are perfectly coverable. Tobias Hogg, Matthias Kroche and Alvaro Incaustic to complete the top 10 in the GT3 overall standings. And we change into the hypercar. These are the overall standings without many surprises. Kobe-chan is ahead of the field. Sven Gilhead follow behind, and Arda Erkan completes the podium. Alex Siebel and Ethan Faulkner to make the top 5 quite compacted. Well, to be fair, the top 4 is on a train of itself, while the rest of the field follows behind. As you can see, some drivers have less rounds counted to their name. Also remember there are drop rounds, so the championship is not done till the very end. Okay, this is effectively what they are fighting for. There are prizes for each class and each podium sitter. There is a 1,250 euro coupon at Simverse by Master. For the winner of the championship, 750 euro coupon at Simverse by Next Level Racing to the 2nd place holder. And at the bottom of the podium, there is a 500 euro coupon at Simverse by Modes of Racing. And obviously, all of this is thanks to all of our partners that every single week help massively the community. Okay, things are working for now. Now let me see if I can pop up the race controller, which wasn't working, and now it is. So yay! Hell yeah! Now, every time it's a bit of an issue to put everything together. I just need... Haha! This is a bit of an issue, unless I do this. Obviously you can't see anything, but trust me, I am preparing some things, because unfortunately the red control is one of those things that I can't pop up while... Okay, start layout. While I'm out of the session. But okay, now everything should work perfectly. Should hopefully work. Just some time as the practice session gets done. Arda Erkan is still on track, and now I think practice is over. Should be over. The answer is yes, it is over, so we can jump into live. Let's see. Let's see if it is working. So always it takes a bit to take. Okay, it is just like ACC, where I have to manually do a couple of things. Always quite frustrating, but can work it out. And now we are into the live stream. As you can see, oh, that's my Why isn't it working? You should work. Maybe a refresh? Okay, it was very simple. It was just a refresh that was needed. As you can see, the tower on the left... Oop. I need Chrome, otherwise I can't see my standings. As you can see, you have some information. If you're new to the channel, welcome here. Standings are maybe slightly different from the last time because John uses a couple of information differently, but that's just up to us to really decide what we really want to show. But essentially the things are always the same. The only thing that changes is that I personally prefer the black background compared to the white one, simply because I can see better the position changing. But that's the only thing that really changes between us commentators, and the voice and the accent, if you will. And also the fact that the numbers are still there and I have to get rid of them because they are completely useless, to be fair. So just give me a second, because I thought it was already... they were already gone, but apparently they are not. Driver number off. Ta-da! As you can see, now it is a bit more clean. You will see the interval and the gaps, and the fastest lap for each driver. The interval, obviously, the ones between drivers. The gap is instead the one from the leader, while the fastest lap is, well, the fastest lap. It's not like there is much else to say. Unfortunately, I still have the little glitch where I can't see the onboard, so I will just say here on trackside. That's very much on the AstroTurf for Shea O'Sullivan in the Falcon sim racing team, the number 44. As you can see, there is a good chunk of Aston Martins. The provisional top 10, which is just the order in which the cars came out of the pits, is quite green. Only one Peugeot, only one Cadillac, only one Toyota in the top 10 for now. The rest of the 16 cars is not really that much different. In GT3, there is a very substantial amount of Lamborghini and some McLarens and some Porsche and Lexus for now. One thing that I would propose is to make like limits on the amount of cars that can be picked up. Considering the BOP is quite good in this game compared to SEC, where the proprietary LFM balance of performance is being used. As you can see, Shea O'Sullivan didn't manage to set a lap, even if he went out of bounds. I thought it was quite out of bounds, but apparently it was not. Shea O'Sullivan 130.0 is our goalpost. Kobe-chan is just behind with a 130.1, and Arda Erkan in the Toyota number 4, that is third place with a 130.3. For now, 7 cars in 1 second, but as always, the grid still has to be effectively set, as Clemens Kitzel sits for now in first place. That's sideways for the Ferrari driver, the 127 Future Racing Esports. Niklas Huben follows behind, 6/10 behind. It's quite honestly an impressive amount for Kitzel. It already shows his absolute pace. Usually it's quite different, because usually it is the hypercar field that has some huge gaps. In this case, it was clearly different. Michael Herman Frey, Porsche number 90, is for now in second place, 144.3 in the blue Manthe Porsche, seems like, from the on the bonnet. The Niklas Huben for now follows in the Nitro concept behind, number 22, third place for now, and Axel Ramone about to complete the lap. For now, 7/10 out of pole position. This could rapidly change as soon as the Hoplite McLaren crosses the line. And that is, matter of fact, an improvement. Oh no, it was not. 54.7. So yeah, it was an improvement, but apparently not in terms of position. Huben, slightly behind, set the purple lap 43.696. And that is slightly quicker than Florence's lap, now in second. So Kinsel already being jumped by not only one but two cars. And now in third place, but as you can see, the gaps are back to the ordinary, with Huben, Florence, Kufel now in third place, in the Iron Dames number 85. Then Kinsel 4th, Kruger in 5th, Rancagno in 6th, Bart, Frey, Fuchs and Stratman to complete the top 10, with less than a second between Huben and Stratman. That's the entire top 10, but as you can see, a good chunk of cars are Lamborghini. In the Huracan Evo 2, which is about to take the last laps in real life with a new platform to being used in the upcoming future. V6, no wait, the V... Oh god, I have a big blank space. Is it a V6? Isn't it a V6? I have to search. Temerario. I can't write. GT3. Oh no, V8. Where did I remember V6? V8. 4.0 V8 with the usual 550 horsepower. I started to think that that line is actually feasible. And the track limits are not enforced there for some reasons. As I said, the Temerario will be the new platform for the Lamborghini squad. As I can speak. As I've seen, the majority of the cars will be in DTM. Only one will be in IMSA, with Pfaff driving the new car. And in GT World Challenge, I have... it should be... Grasser. Should be Grasser driving in the Endurance, but I can't remember in Sprint. I really can't remember in Sprint Cup who is going to drive the Temerario as a team. As Sullivan goes across the line in the Valkyrie project that is a bit different from the rest of the field, considering it is not with an hybrid module. It's only an ICE combustion V12 for the Valkyrie that in a 24-hour Daytona a couple of weeks ago didn't really shine. To be fair, the only thing that that car did was finishing the race, which is something that one of the Cadillacs did not. So, hey, not last at least. But now Kobe-chan here is in the Visceral Esports colors. And Arda Erkan in third in the Toyota. As you can see, Ulrich in the Cadillac. 8th place for Moritz Ulrich in the Fischer Racing colors, for now in the pits, but now out of the pits in the 127. Just set 30.9. So this makes the amount of cars below the 31 marker to 10, exactly 10, because Mika Patosh in 11th is with a 31.3. In GT3, as 5 minutes still remain, Niklas Huben is still ahead of the field. Max Florence in the LFM livery sits in position number 2. And third place for now still, never mind, not still, but he just jumped some cars. Kinsel for now sits in third with a 43.8. And effectively the only gap present on the top 10 is, ironically, the one between P1 and P2, with Huben, as always, annihilating the field and without making really any chance plausible for the rest of the field, at least in qualifying. In the race, it seems like something lacks comparatively to the qualifying stint rather than the overall stint, because he is always up top. But that gap that is being created in qualifying doesn't seem to be so visible in the race. You would expect a 1 second gap in 5 laps, but last time around, at least in Spa, it wasn't really like that, but maybe something will change tonight. Axel Ramonet for now in 4th in Opel's McLaren, and then Herman Frey to conclude the lap and to start the new one. 43.8 for now. Very, very close to Ramonet and Kensel. Effectively, the battle for second place is very, very good so far. As you can see, 5 tenths, the gap between Kruger and Huben, but if you consider only Florence, that gap gets reduced to only 3 tenths. Not even, to be fair. 734 to 036. Less than 3 tenths. No, exactly. 302 milliseconds. I mistakenly read another number. So 302 milliseconds between 2nd and 8th place. That's how close it is. Alex Ebel also now in the Peugeot. In the 9X8, the second version of it. Unfortunately, the first version is bad. It's not really a good option, quite obviously. Alex Ebel in 4th, his teammate Sven Gilhead in the Alpine, which apparently to the rumors currently around, this could be the last year for the Alpine, as apparently the Renault group is not really happy with, well, having a race car, and they are really, well, the Peugeot group, more than like the Stellantis group, is not really happy, and is not really happy about this, and it seems like that project will be axed entirely after this year, which is laughable, to be fair. Mainly because the car is finally having some grip on the field, and they've been investing in some drivers, and all of a sudden, all of that could go into flames because, yes, to be fair, because yes, quite honestly, I can't really find any other reason. Whereas Peugeot is still committed to, well, that car. I don't really want to be subjective, but the Alpine is quite better than whatever the 9X8 is. And I say it as objectively as I can, that the Alpine is way better simply because it has a better chassis. The Dallara chassis is the one being used also from the Acura, which apparently, ironically, could join into WEC because of Alpine's departure with Euro Interpol. That same team that makes bread in Poland. The same team that won several races in LMP2, obviously. Second and third in Daytona 2 weeks ago. But it's a bread making machine. It's always pretty funny to my eyes. A lot of things of Silvia talks around as now the very same Alpine I was mentioning earlier on. 6th place for Gilhead, and Kufel jumps the entirety of the field by putting himself in 2nd place. Joseph Kufel in the Iron Dames Porsche. Iron Dames, which is an effective dead project at the moment, considering the possible bankruptcy for the entire group around the Iron Dames, Iron Lynx, and Prema, effectively. With the Prema lineup in IndyCar, which had a year, and the one in F2 that for now exists, but who knows. Michael Frey also jumps a couple of places in the other Porsche. This time it is the number 90 in the blue colors, with Michael Herman Frey now in 5th, 43.796. And as you can see, the gap between the 1st and 10th is only 5 tenths. This is incredible stuff in GT, at least. As Kobe-chan managed to put himself in pole position, 29.8, just ahead of O'Sullivan, as Adelka remains in 3rd, pole, and Ethan Faulkner, 4th place. Alex Ebel completes the top 5. As Vanner jumps a place, Jonas Vanner now in 9th, and Gilhead also jumps in 5th, back in 5th rather, after Siebel overtook him provisionally. Now Gilhead is back in 5th place, and will probably start the race in 5th, as still there are some cars around. Chan didn't improve, Huben still hasn't improved, but who knows. The gap is effectively 2 times between Huben and Kuffel, but again, the gap between Kuffel, and I have to really scroll down to find 1 second. The gaps are really tight in GT3. For example, Joseph Kuffel has a lap of 1:43.698, consider 1:43.7. To get a 43.0, which is only 3 times behind, it is 9th place. And to get 5 times, it is Manuel Fuchs with a 44.2. That's how close the gap is. 5 times are literally 10 places. So, the situation in GT will be, as always, phenomenal. In Hypercar, there are some groups. The overall is less exciting, but if you give a look to the intervals, there are some trains already forming. The one with Faulkner that didn't improve in the end, 130.3, and for example, Daniel Gottschalk, 130.407, that is about 60 milliseconds behind Ethan Faulkner. And there is another train for 9th place with Jonas Manner on the wheel. As everybody effectively completed the laps they had a disposal, and that's qualifying over for us all. I hope you... Sorry, I forget that my microphone is not anymore anchored to my head, so if I talk another direction, you can't really hear me. Also remember that there is a live stewarding and the interviews at the very tail end of the race. 1 hour for tonight's round. I just need to go back into Firefox because I have to have a look at this. Because yes, the tire wear is double the usual. Remember, it is the same for every round, I know, but maybe you haven't followed the entire season so far, and well, you just have to know that the tire wear is double the usual as the various cars are placing themselves on the field. Then we go for a very quick grid review. Just need into the race. In the meantime, I will correct some couple of things. For now, I'd like to see the pitted time, but not the tires. That's for later on. Okay, so quick jump into the field. Kobe-chan will start at the very top of the field, then we will be followed by Shea O'Sullivan in 2nd place, Arda Erkan in 3rd, and Ethan Faulkner in 4th, Sven Gilhead 5th, Alex Siebel 6th, with Daniel Gottschalk in 7th, Marit Zurich 8th place, Jonas Vanner and Paul Noski in 10th place, Mika Patush and Erik Nonnenmacher in 12th, Patrick Beckmeyer in 13th, 14th for Nico Benzler, Nico Dobos and Team Flag complete the Hypercar field, 16 cars. Then we got Niklas Huben in GT3 in pole, Joseph Kuffel alongside Max Florence in 3rd, Eric Delfant in 4th, Michael Herman Frey in 5th, Clement Kinsel 6th, 4th row for Axel Ramone and David Rancagno, Linus Kruger and Marin Bessier in 10th place, Manuel Fuchs and Luis Barto in 12th place, Alex Statman, Matthias Krusche in 14th, 15th for René Felder, and then Hagman, Inkausti and Pastrana to complete the 18 cars field in LMGT3. Now, back to the main Hypercar field, because this will start shortly. Just some moments. And it's green light and away we go. It was a very good start by the Toyota, number 4 behind. But then, as you can see, going 3, 4, 5 wide, maybe even into turn number 1. But that is going to be side by side between Shea O'Sullivan and Kobe-chan, with Kobe-chan on the outside. Oh, apologies, Kobe-chan on the inside, with Shea O'Sullivan on the outside, and the Falcon sim racing team. As you can see, a good flock of Falcon colors there. Oh, the car is off, and one of the cars is off. That is Shea O'Sullivan that crashed with several cars. Disaster in the hypercar field. One of the cars, two of the cars, actually multiple cars are out of the race already. I think there is a wheel. There are multiple wheels going off the rails. That is Patrick Beckmeyer, also involved in Nico Dobos, that effectively retired from the race. Shea O'Sullivan, another retirement, and Patrick Beckmeyer somehow survived, but with heavy damage on the race car. That is already a surprise for our field. Then we've got here the battle between Ethan Faulkner and Sven Gilhead on the outside. Then becomes the inside in the very top of the elevation change with the visceral Aston Martin collision between the two teammates. Still many surprises. Moritz Zurich about to overtake Daniel Gottschalk that comes back into 6th, but still more contact with Moritz Zurich. As another car was sideways. I think maybe it's even spun. I think it's spun. I'm not entirely sure. Nico Benzler. Oh yes, it was Nico Benzler that effectively retired from the race as Patrick Beckmeyer still tries to go back at the pits without a wheel. He was one of the cars involved and also without a wheel. Kobe Chan first, Arda Erkan second, Sven Gilhead, then Mark Siebel and Ethan Faulkner to complete the top 5. Daniel Gottschalk in the end remained in 6th with Jonas Mann in 7th, and it is a side-by-side between Mika Patush and Moritz Zurich with the Porsche 963 effectively gaining the position of the Cadillac driver that is still battling with his teammate in the Valkyrie. Behind that is Moritz Zurich in 9th place to complete the Visceral duo, apologies, the Fisher Racing duo. Behind Paul Noske and Team Flag to... Oh, they see the possible overtake there between two cars. That is Ethan Faulkner and Alex Siebel in the Peugeot. Jonas Vanner still ahead of the Visceral Valkyrie with Mika Patush and Moritz Zurich to follow behind in 9th in the Cadillac, and Paul Noske was, apologies, Paul Noske was the Valkyrie, not Moritz Zurich in the Cadillac at the moment. But still, one of the cars lost a place, because Moritz Zurich now goes into the inside to maybe take the place and goes sideways. And goes sideways for a moment and loses the position on Paul Noske, who effectively goes into 9th place. And Moritz Zurich loses the position on his teammate. Now into the GT3 field. Niklas Huben still ahead of the rest. Joseph Kuffel to follow. Max Florence and Clemens Kitzel in 4th place. Eric Delfant. And then there was an overtake opportunity there between Fuchs and Rancagno, with Demir Rancagno in the Lamborghini in 9th, ahead of the Lexus now, after Manuel Fuchs managed to overtake the Spanish driver just prior to the very final part of the circuit. Patrick Beckmeyer in the end managed to go back into the pits with 3 wheels only, but the very beginning was a disaster for some. 4 cars already out of contention in the 16 cars lineup. I'll try to put a replay later on, as I can do that, but it will be quite rudimental the way I will be doing it. As of now, I don't think there is a method to go into certain time frames in the race, so I will just literally drag the replay behind to see it again. But that was a disaster for Shea O'Sullivan, Nico Dobos and Nico Benzler, with Patrick Beckmeyer effectively still running but a lap behind the rest of the field. That was possibly an opportunity for the number 10 that didn't appear entirely. But Manuel Fuchs for now still very much behind the Porsche. For now the situation remains quite normal, as let's see if there are any penalties already being thrown at the drivers. For now it doesn't seem like it, but back into the hypercar field, because the battle for first is certainly on. We've got the Visceral Esport Valkyrie and the Falcon Sim Racing Toyota with Arda Erkan driving the number 4. Last lap around, it was 31.8 for Chan, 42.0 for Erkan, but more importantly, the fastest lap was in Erkan's favor. 41.7, 41.8 for Chan. And then behind, Sven Gearhead and Alex Siebel are also following, but not that much distance is between the two cars. Then there is also a battle for 8th at the moment between Mika Patush in the 963 in the Porsche Penske livery number 6 and Paul Noski in the Fisher Racing Esports number 127. Now there is a bit of an issue because there are multiple 127. They are not really helping me in this case because all 3 cars in the Fisher Racing hypercar field are with a 127. Please change it next time. I need a number to differentiate some cars. In any case, the Valkyrie now goes ahead of the number 6, and that is the overtake into turn number 1. That maybe never mind what I say because the number 6 goes sideways into the grass after a contact happened with the Cadillac driver as Mika Patush rejoins behind Ulrich as Noski apologies with the Aston Martin. Contact there between the Aston Martin and the Porsche as the Cadillac of Moritz Ulrich goes into 9th, slotting himself back into a better placement as Ulrich was actually starting in 8th, so that's not really the starting position I was thinking of. In GT3, 1.7 seconds already between Huben and Kufel, so probably I was greatly wrong in this case, as Huben is already creating sort of lake for now, as Moritz Ulrich actually goes into his starting placement, as Paul Noski drops back into 9th, as Mika Patush somehow survived it after the contact with Paul Noski. I hope it's being said Paul Noski and not Paul Noski as an Englishman, because Noski is more German, I think. Probably I'm just butchering the surname in any case, but I'm not really good in German. I've never been good in German. I tried to learn it. I failed miserably. But, apart from this, Huben, Kufel and Florence to complete the podium in GT3. Florence that didn't change his starting position, neither did... no, but Kitzel actually did 2 places up front in his Ferrari 296 GT3. Fastest lap also being held by the leader in the GT3 class. Can say the same about the hypercar field, in which, as you can see here, Kobe-chan and Erda Arkan are very much close together. Never mind, because they are actually side by side into the very final sector. The Toyota is going to be maybe ahead of the Valkyrie that tries to stay on the inside line. Side by side as the number 4 goes on the outside and into the very final turn, the right hander, the very long right hander. The Valkyrie was a bit, well, more than a bit, way out of the racing line, and that is Arda Erkan leading the field in the hypercar field. Just a bit of a repetition. And that was also a very good lap, probably, for the Toyota. It was, okay, no, it was not. 32.6, huh? Seems odd, because 32.6 was way worse than Chan's lap, so probably something... something was clearly wrong, because Chan certainly didn't do a 32.0. Probably that's the lap earlier than this one. But that's Sven Gilred also very much in proximity of the duo up front. This is now a Valkyrie in the Falcon sandwich with also the other Valkyrie, that is Ethan Faulkner, following in 5th place. in the other Aston Martin. But as of now, this top 5 is really on their toes. Meanwhile, there's already traffic. The Lexus that was, I think, Adrian Pastrana, and following Lamborghini Luis Barto. The next one will be Alvaro Incausti in the SRP Racing Porsche, just there being overtaken. And then Artem Hagman in the Carbon Motorsport with Rennfelder in 14th. The next one for these drivers. This is going to be quite exciting because there is a battle for first place and several cars battling for positions in GT3. And the two things have to coexist at the same time. Doesn't seem a very good line for Sven Gilhead. He's losing his Alpine with the Huracan up front as the Peugeot behind his teammate follows. That's another mistake by the Alpine driver. Maybe Alex Siebel could ask for a change in position. Doesn't seem a thing right now as the Lexus gets thrown into the void by the very same Alpine I was mentioning. Toyota still ahead of the field. Arle Erkan that started the race in third. He's now in first place already. Kubican was starting in the lead as Sven Gilhead is also up 2 places. That certainly is also because of Theo Sullivan effectively being raised earlier on in the very first lap. We will see the replay when the situation eventually calms down. It was a massive incident at the middle of the field, the center of the field, effectively. Even if Theo Sullivan was effectively starting at the very top, but then it was a chain reaction that led to... Oh, there's a contact! McLaren in 6th, that is Axel Ramone, and also Axel Ramone losing the position by Michael Herman Frey. Into the inside he goes and takes the place out of the McLaren driver that has been bumped out of the racing line, effectively making the pass possible for Herman Frey. Eric Elefante is his next objective. Even for him, not much luck with the hypercar field that he loses some time, but not too much compared to at least the Hoplite McLaren. Regardless, for now, Max Lorenz also, it seemed like a bit of trouble for him. It doesn't seem to have lost much time as he remains in his third place. Joseph Kuffel also in second, and the next car is the last one because it is actually the leader of the race, Niklas Huben, to be overtaken by the hypercar field in a quite calm manner. Although you can see that now Ethan Faulkner with the lapped cars has had some troubles because now Jonas Wanner is directly behind in his Alpine. The Valkyrie. Oh, penalty. A penalty has been applied, and that is a 10-second time penalty for Noski. 10-second time penalty for an unsafe rejoining causing a collision on lap number 5. Ah, that was against, yeah, that was against the Porsche. Mika Patush. So that 10 seconds penalty has been applied to the car in 9th place at the moment. To be remembered when the pit stops will happen. For now, quite calm situation here in hypercar. Can't say the same about the battle for 5th in GT3, because here the Porsche in the number 90, as that is Michael Herman Frey in Monte Livery, is against Eric Elefante number 95. With the Porsche tries a very, very bold move the elevated section, since side by side between the two, but the next one is a left-hander, so that is the number 95 that will have some more luck, but the Porsche is not defeated yet. Dive bomb into the inside. Oh, contact between the two. Much more than some contact. Oh, another contact. This time it was the Porsche trying the cutback into the right-hander just prior to the very last corner. But the three cars are now one after the other. And in 2015, that is, for now, the order unchanged. But certainly that will change. Or at least, they will try to change it. Michael Manfrey still in 6th place. Never mind, because he goes into the inside, into the number 2. And this time in a bit more clean manner. Takes the position, but up front, they have to get to this back stretch. Leading into Torre Vip to number 5. But the Porsche stays ahead of the two McLarens. Still 5th for Herman Frey now, with the opportunity for the McLaren that could arise in short time, unless Axel Ramone changes such idea. And the Fischer Racing number 1 to... Okay, that's completely useless, but the Toyota is into the pits. And it's in a retirement for Erik Nonmacher in the Toyota. Retirement, another retirement in the uppercut field, but this time it was 30 seconds ago. Now I wonder what happened. So let's see what exactly happened to Toyota driver. Oh, it's already too late. So this is the Toyota, simply going. Oh, that's just a Toyota stopping. Without much else to be said. But now, let's have a look at the very start of the race. To see O'Sullivan's incident. It was around here. Yeah, as you can see from the helicam. Boop. Okay, that was not a good one. So maybe from the helicam. Side by side between the two. And the number 44 spun. And oh, there's a big crash with the 66 and with the 137 Valkyrie. So another look, but this time it's half the speed. Big crash there. I wanted to see this one. So the 44 spinning in the middle of the racetrack, just narrowly missing the 44 Visceral Valkyrie. Some other cars just barely missing out, and that is the huge incident with the Cadillac that threw the 66 out of effective contention. Also an incident there with another Valkyrie. I can't really see which car it was, and then the 137 that also got involved in the very same incident. Everyone else somehow survived the incident, but that's what exactly happened at the very start of the race. And it's not the best way to show a replay, but oh wait, this it's a bit of a problem because I need this thing here. Okay. So the cameras will be changing. Also, there is another DNF. This time it is Matthias Krusche in the McLaren. So let's see what happened. Oh, that's the 127 already in the gravel. Was it a contact? Let's have a look. So the car in 13th loses the rear. Oh, loses the rear massively. Oh, big incident into the wall. Very odd. It seems like the throttle was stuck. That is the retirement for Crusher. Because he was in 13th place. So another car out of contention. Okay, we are live. Good. For a moment I thought it was not live. So, multiple incidents already. Patrick McMahon now finds himself in 12th place at least. Although with damages that he had early on, he had to repair the car for a good chunk of time. As you can see, 3 minutes and 50 seconds in the pits. And now with the red band, which is actually the hard tire, has to get to the end probably. We'll try to get to the end for him. Let's see if anything is about to change. Well, the answer is clearly yes. So now Sven Gilhead still remains in 3rd place. Alex Siebel follows and Ethan Faulkner in 5th, with Jonas Van Der still in 6th. Not much has changed here. In terms of lap time, so the last time around it was 2.7 for Chan, 2.7 for Gilhead, 2.8 for Siebel, 2.7 for Faulkner, 2.8 for Vanner. I purposely jumped Erkan because his lap was a 32.661, which at least at the lap number 14 was unreachable by the rest of the field. Although Gilhead seems very close to his teammate, apologies, Siebel seems very close to his teammate. Gilhead in the Alpine and Siebel in the Peugeot. Oh, both cars overtaking that Mercedes. That was, I think it was Carlo Motorsport number 89, Artem Hagman in the 15th place. Realistically, the hypercar field for now probably remains as it is, without too much variation, unless the battle for 3rd goes on 10 bit more. But it doesn't seem like it. For now, the Alpine number 33 remains on top. Could also the battle in 6th, which because of the replay I actually missed out on the overtake for Axel Ramone on Eric Del Fante. The Italian lost a place on the Hoplite McLaren, and this is the 777 that effectively got 1 place. Del Fante, which is definitely Falcon liveries look interesting on those hypercars. Yeah, I really like the Falcon liveries even in real life. Maybe because they are always so colorful. As Q-Fuel, odd strategy for Q-Fuel at slightly earlier than the midpoint, goes into the pits to change the Goodyear tires, and the same happens to Jonas Vanner as the Alpine. Okay, so now it is important to maybe start to put the the tire marker. Maybe not yet, since only 2 cars went into the pits. But Joseph Kiffel is the first in GT, and Jonas Vanner is the first in Hypercar. I'm not considering Patrick Wickmeyer, who, yes, he was the first effectively, but he's completely off the chart for obvious reasons. But these 2 drivers will be the very first to try something different, maybe. Joseph Kiffel certainly didn't change much in his tactic. As I can see here, he didn't change the tires. Ah. So yes, it is a different tactic for Kiffel. He remains in his Goodyear. The very same Goodyears he has used since the very start of the race, I think. Unless he really put a little fuel, which is also plausible considering that an hour-long race. So maybe he just changed tires and not put fuel in the car. There's only one way to discover what exactly happened. Let me just go here and also Gilhead into the pits, so probably it is time for various cars to think about a pit stop. As you can see, the majority of the cars are obviously on 0, as that is they didn't change tires yet, but I was curious about Kiffel. Oh, look at that, it did change tires. The entire set went on for 14 laps. Now the question is, are both the same, or are only the left new tires? That is unfortunately very difficult to understand. But Kiffel will be effectively the very first on the pit stop table to have made a change. 69% the energy, so this means that the fuel put on board was very little, without any surprise considering that we are 2 minutes away from the midpoint, and as you can see, the energy in the majority of the field is pretty much the same. Gil had also changed tires from soft tires to soft, huh? Again, let me see. Those are, seems like those are actually, it should be softs. You can see a white band, but I can't, wait, I know how to do it. Those are mediums. So, actually, the tire compounds are not really useful at this point. Those are effectively mediums. It is visible from the fact that there is a yellow shoulder on the current tires. Unfortunately, Racelab doesn't put the correct tires for some reasons. I think it is just one compound less, so it's medium for everybody. So I need to figure out how to read it at this point. So maybe it's just better to get rid of it at this point. Probably. I'll just wait for at least everybody to make their pits to at least understand who is on new tires and who is not, because maybe, though I really doubt it, but basically if some could change idea and maybe not change tires. In the pits also Arda Erkan and Daniel Gottschalk in 7th place at the moment. As also Michael Frey goes into the pits. Michael Herman Frey here to change the Goodyears. Was in hypercar. Toyota with Arderkan driving. There's another change of tires, but Arderkan, more importantly, has to stay ahead of his rivals. That's Gilhead. Although it's his teammate, it doesn't mean that he's safe. But Erkan went a bit longer on the tires. Same tactic as his teammate though, so probably not much is different in setup. Then we've got some couple of things going on as Linus Krüger is now maybe battling with Alex Stratman for the provisional 7th place. Numerous cars passing around them. The hypercar field is now divided into two fields effectively, with an hypercar field that's already pitted and one that still didn't. And also, look at that. Faulkner, 1 minute in the pits. And that is not because of a penalty. That is 10 seconds more. I have no idea why, as a 46. Maybe, just maybe some... oh, big one. Big one for Michael Herman Frey. Stop and go penalty. Stop and go penalty. And Vanner? That's a DNF. Jonas Vanner DNF? The Alpine driver? I didn't notice it. When did it happen? So, Michael Herman Frey, stop and go penalty for speeding. But I don't see any stop and go penalty here. There were some warnings, but nothing resembling a stop and go entirely. But Jonas Vanner? What happened here 5 minutes ago? Let's have a look. Here is still in the pits. So yes, he is into the pits. Nothing to report. He's still into the pits. And he never left the pits. So something went terribly wrong. He is, as you can see, Michael Herman Frey going and stopping in his pit box for the mandatory stop go. That was odd. So something certainly stopped working during his pit stop. So we lost another hypercar. Only 10, well 11 actually, only 11 cars remain in the hypercar field. As Sven Gilhead comes in front of Porsche driver that now is in 17th place in the GT3 field, in the LMGT3. Much of the field in LMGT3 is also pitting, but still top 4 is yet to dive in. There have been a couple of odd situations in the racetrack. So this is another DNF, but it was a very odd one. So 2 cars already retired for apparently technical issues, and one, I'm quite certain it was another technical issue, because it was very odd, the incident that happened into that was Turn 8, yeah, it was Turn 8 to Samsung. As now Noski is into the pits, Alex Siebel is instead going the other way around, go out of the pits with Arderkan, that effectively is back in first place as a Toyota driver in 4 in a Falcon sim racing. He's now leading Sven Gill had actually managed to jump Kobe-chan. Look at that. But the pit stop was roughly the same. So something really happened to Chan, as Alex Siebel was also not able to get Gillhead, so Gillhead really did something different. And I wonder if just half the tires were changed. No, it's impossible because the time in the pits is the same. Gottschalk also in the 44 here managed to jump Ethan Faulkner in the 46. So Faulkner is not really having the best race in the world, as Luis Barto just set the overtake on Adrian Pastrana. So now the 21 and the 91 battling for position with Black Nitro Racing Esports ahead of Top Racing Live. So now definitely a very odd race that has been going on. Still there are 23 minutes to go. Majority of the field already went in and changed tires, but as you can see from the tower on the left, something is definitely odd. Huben and Kitzel, I'm pretty sure they just changed half the 24 and 42 seconds, 10 seconds less than Kiffel, who probably changed all the tires. But more importantly, 22 minutes to go, and a good chunk of the GT3s haven't pitted yet. I remember Huben was the leader. So now I wonder what the tactic may be. It is quite evident that they will not change tires. They will go through the end with this set, although the consumption is double the normal tire wear. So effectively at this point it is completely useless to keep this one on. One important thing is the time in the pits. Since effectively that means if they pit or not. It's not a multi-pit stop race. Oh. Oh no. Oh no, that is a slight issue. Did the race crash or... Let me just... I need OBS, otherwise I can't. Just to avoid... Apparently I crashed for some reasons. Just from the lobby. Ah. That is very odd. But I haven't lost the connection on the stream. So whatever happened... Okay, that was very, very odd. Having two crashes in 2 evenings after doing months without a single issue of this kind is always odd. I should be back in a couple of seconds. Okay, I can... Okay. Let me just... Ta-da! Oh. Okay. Very odd. Very, very odd. So unfortunately, position deltas will be completely out of the place. The other thing is that it's not the game that crashed, it's just the lobby that threw me out. That's particular. I don't think I lost much. Oh yeah, something I clearly missed. As Kobe-chan is now in 4th place. And not in 3rd anymore. Even the number 4 Peugeot overtook the Visceral Esport Valkyrie. And that makes the Visceral cars in 4th, 5th and 6th place. Even out of the podium, Kobe-chan, remember that there is a championship at stake. As the energy will slowly go back to the normal values. The only thing that will not change back to the ordinary is the position deltas. Unfortunately, I can't really do much about that. It's very much like ACC, and also the pit stops. But for the pit stops, it's actually not really a big issue, as I can clearly tell who went in and who didn't come into the pits. Okay. So as I was saying, in the GT3 category, it is very, very odd, because some of the field still didn't pit. And those names are Florence Ramon Fante, Florence Ramon Delfante, Hagman, and I think Bart and Pastrana, no, even they went into the pits in the end to refuel. So still 4 names didn't pit yet. But besides, they will not change tires. And Nicolas Huber, remember, he was leading the race, so technically still is the leader. Although Marin Bessier, 31%, also didn't pit. It is also fuel saving. So yeah, Barto... Ah no, okay, I was correct. Barto, Pastrana and Bessier are fuel saving, trying to get to the end. I think they are fuel saving to try to get to the end, but it's very difficult for them. Whilst Florence Ramone Delfante and Hagman are going flat out to try to just go into the pits to refuel only. Obviously, they will not change tires. It's quite obvious at this point. Whilst in the hypercar field, nothing is really different. But still, I'm quite surprised that Chan lost so much ground after the pits. And he is on the very same tactic as anybody else. Full service on the tires. But he already lost the place on Gilhead prior to the pit stop. And then, unfortunately, the disconnection made me lose the overtake between Alex Siebel and Kobe-chan for 3rd place. But even in the last lap, 41.7 for Siebel, 42.2 for Chan. Without mentioning 32.8 and 44.3 for Gottschalk and Faulkner. So it seems like the Valkyrie is not there altogether. For whatever reason, it's just not performing in his phase of the race. Meanwhile, here there is a battle between teammates in the Falcon Sim Racing team. As we got the number 33 and number 4, the Alpine and the Peugeot, the 2 French cars in the uppercut field, both trying to get the position of the other. both want the second place. Both cars are in second place, very likely. So in the sense of the team result, they shouldn't change it, because you can see Chen is not really keeping up the pace. So I'm very curious about why effectively the race car is not really as there as it was at the very beginning of the race. Because 32.7, it was marginally slower than Sibel actually, and Gillard was actually slower than both of his rivals. But then look at that, the gap has been widening in the rest of the lap, putting Chan in a second of gap to Sibel here in the Peugeot number 4. As Niklas Huben has reached the Lexus in 4th place. Lexus, which is, remember, fuel saving, trying to get to the end. Same tactic as Bart and Pastrana in 9th and 10th place. The rest of the field all pitted. Niklas Huben did not, and he was the leader of the race. So this is very much on the line for Huben, although he needs to make up 26 seconds to win the race. And a trip into the pits will probably be around 30 seconds, so realistically he might have it, but it's still not over. As also Alvar Inkausti, DNF, I have just noticed whether it just happened or it happened while I was disconnected. That is another question. But now the Lamborghini number 22 goes into the inside and takes the position in turn 13, which has been a hotspot in the whole race. And that is Niklas Huben slightly closer to the top of the field. But remember, 26 seconds have to be made to the cars that are just going to fill up the car. Those are Max Florence, Axel Ramon and Erg Delfante. Marine Bessier is a bit of a question mark, because the fuel save is happening, but I'm not entirely sure that Bessier will be able to reach the end. Same goes for Bart and Pastrana. As Kitzel also overtook the Mercedes in turn number 1, that is the number 89 that loses the position on the Ferrari of Clemens Kitzel in the Fischer Racing Ferrari, throwing Kitzel in position number 6. Still Gilrohead and Sibel, one after the other. So we got the Alpine and the Peugeot number 33 that set a 32.4, 32.3 for Sibel, 31.9 for Chan. So maybe it's still not over. Maybe I threw the bait a bit too early. It's still not over for the podium positions for Kobe Chan, whilst Alex Sibel might want the position in front of him, but at the same time Chan is just behind and could deliver a punch to both of the Falcon cars that are locking up the podium positions, all of them, as Arda Erkan is in the Falcon Sim Racing Toyota number 4. Same number for two cars. This hurts my brain, even because I use very much numbers. The number 33 for now has a couple of cars in front. Those couple of cars, unfortunately for him, are also battling. Those are Luis Barto, no, please, that is David Rancagno and Linus Kruger, as both cars get overtaken by Gilred, Sibel and Chan. They go side by side into the main straight, and there is all contact between the Valkyrie and the Peugeot, with the Valkyrie that spins, and the number 12 is off. The number 12 is off. And that was a contact for the Visceral Valkyrie. Effectively, this could be the end. And also there was a Sibel and Gilhead switching positions at the end of the back straight, with Sibel gaining the second place on Gilhead. But still, some more contact between the two as Florence goes into the pits. This means that both Ramone and Fante will overtake Florence, but the McLaren could get in front of Huben. Still not over for the lead in GT3, although it's very difficult. Also Bachmeier into the pits for a second time. Yeah, that is the overtake concluded for Alex Sibel. At the same time, it is Florence in 5th at the end with Bessier. But apparently, also that was maybe it was just a visual glitch, because now the energy percentage is 17%, so probably like spitted while I was disconnected. So this means that Max Florence is effectively in 5th place. Probably both Ramone and Delfante will get behind Huben, re-establishing the earlier hierarchy, as Axel Ramone goes into the pits now, and Delfante follows behind, as also Manuel Fuchs overtakes Barto for 8th place, and Patush also on the offensive. That is the number 6 Porsche 963 on Paul Noski, as the German in the Valkyrie just lost a place on his rival from earlier on. Niklas Huben regains the lead of the race without too many surprises at this point. Manin Bessier is also in 2nd, and that is important for hierarchy in GT3, as Axel Ramone is just ahead of the 127 Ferrari for a brief moment, as Ramone loses the position on Clemens Kitzel in the Fischer Racing Ferrari that goes in 4th place now. Elefante behind has a good gap on Joseph Kuffel, so probably this might be the order in GT3, but still there are 5 minutes to go, and many times things changed at the very last moments. Everybody will be able to go to the end. But for now, Axel Ramone out of the pits with only fuel in the car, so quite a different strategy for the two McLarens in 5th and 6th. Very likely that's going to be Ramone that will sit behind the 127 Ferrari that has slightly fresher tires, 30-minute fresher, but remember there is also double the consumption in this round and actually in the entire championship. Daniel Gottschalk and Ethan Faulkner, apologies, Ethan Faulkner and Moritz Ulrich battling here, and also Alex Stratman in the 327 getting a position on Barto once again. 21 is still there, maybe aiming for another final overtake. Stratman in the Porsche part in the Lamborghini. Four minutes to go, so this means 3 laps or so. It's behind. That was Riviera Canyon overtaking lapped Lexus. A good chunk of cars DNF'd in this race. Out of 34 competitors, only 27 will, at the moment, complete the race. 7 DNFs for this race. And also, remember that also Max Florence didn't change tires, and it's quite visible now because this is the battle for the podium as Clement Kitzel. Last lap 45.4. We can switch to Florence, who set a 45.8, 4 times slower than his rival. Realistically, Ricardo starting in 3rd place might end up out of the podium. Effectively, I'm very surprised by Marine Bessier that managed, for now, to... Oh, wait. No, I am correct. Marine Bessier still hasn't pitted. So that's why. Okay, I was correct. Looking at it, both Marine Bessier and Barto and Pastrana, so all of them, still haven't pitted. So I was correct at the very beginning. Drive-through for Mika Patush in the number 6 in 9th place. Drive-through for Mika Patush here. The reason is track limits. So a very final issue for one of the competitors. Drive-through for Patush, who probably will not really lose places, but certainly will not gain the position ahead. In the meantime, there's also here the battle for 6th between Ethan Faulkner in the Aston and Moritz Zurich in the Cadillac, with 2 cars that will cross the line one more time, and probably another one too, before getting to the end of the race. So probably we will see also Marine Bessier eventually pitting, or not. The fuel save actually might have worked for Bessier. Remember, Marine Bessier still hasn't pitted, and went fuel saving for this whole time, and just barely could be able to end the race without pitting. Same strategy as has been used by Luis Barto and Adrian Pastrana in 12th and 13th place. And Marine Bessier was starting 10th in the field. But now here, very close between Max Florence and Clemens Kitzel for 3rd place. With the chance of this battle to go for 2nd place, actually. So, white flag for Arda Erkan. Brought to you by Simverse.com for the final kilometers of his race. So we will look at this battle also, because this is actually for 3rd, but might actually end up for 2nd if Bessier didn't manage the fuel tank in a correct manner. Only after this lap it will be visible, but probably Bessier has the chance to complete the race on a single fuel tank. Continue straight, so this means there is enough fuel. Only 3% for Bessier for Florence and Kinsel in the energy. But maybe 3% is just enough to complete the race. And this will be a marvelous second place for Bessier, starting 10th and probably finishing in second. But now, still here, the number 4, that is Arderkan in the Falcon Sim Racing Toyota that wins the round number 4 in the Autodromo d'Algarve. And that is the win in hypercar with Alex Siebel and Sven Gilhead completing the podium for a full Falcon podium in hypercar. Kobe Chan will arrive in 4th, Daniel Gorschalk will complete in 5th, Nathan Faulkner will be able to complete the race in 6th, with Moritz Ulrich following behind in 7th, Paul Nutke and Mika Patush 8th and 9th, with Tim Flagg and Paddy McMayer in 11th place. This is Niklas Huben in the Lamborghini in the Team Nitro per Bualien, and that is Niklas Huben that arrives with a dominance on the field and wins in Portimao in his Lamborghini Huracan Evo 2 number 22, behind the impressive situation here as Bessier managed to fuel save all the way to get second place. Max Lorenz, even without changing tires, third place, 4th for Clemens Kinsel that wasn't able to get the podium, whilst Axel Ramone completes the race in 5th place. Eric Delfante 6th, with 7th place for Josef Küffel. Emmanuel Fuchs will arrive in the car number 10 Lamborghini in 8th place. Alex Stratman will complete the race in 9th in the Porsche in the Fischer Racing colors to complete the top 10 in GT3. Linus Kruger, then Rancagno, Barto, Felder, Pastrana, Hagman and Hermann Frey to complete the finishing field. DNFs, Alvarin Kausi, Jonas Wanner, Erik Nonmenacher, Matthias Krusche, Nico Bentler, Nico Dobos and Shea O'Sullivan to complete the 34 drivers field. Rancagno still here in the middle of the corner. But what an impressive race. That has been a very difficult race to understand strategy-wise. Absolutely incredible stuff, as the podium in GT3 had 3 different tactics. Niklas Huben that went with the usual, just pitting for fuel and tires. Marine Bessier didn't pit at all. And Max Lorenz that pitted only to put fuel in the car to complete the race on a single set of tires. Clemens Kinsel that started in 6th, in the end arrived 4th, 2 places up. But I would say 8 positions gained in the race. It's an astonishing situation for Bessier. In hypercar, Alex Siebel was actually the one that gained the most, 4 places. 4 places for Alex Siebel. Actually, it was Team Flag. 6 places, as Flag was starting in 16th and ended up in 10th. The Aston Martin number 9. Effectively surviving the early incident was enough to gain places for Team Flag. And Kobe Chan, oddly, from 1st to 4th. So very odd, the second stint, as Chan wasn't really able to keep up the pace, it seemed like. As this means that we can go into the results to see that the standings haven't been updated. Aha, here it is. In the Simverse.com LMU Pro Series, Niklas Huben, Marine Bessier, Max Lorenz in the podium. Don't look at the time because it's clearly glitched. Clemens Kinsel and Axel Ramone to complete the top 5. And then in the lead lap, 9 cars, but realistically it is also because of the hypercar traffic that put some cars behind. Yeah, there are people in the interview room already. They will just wait a couple of seconds as the classification is on screen. As I said, Eric Elefante, then Joseph Kiefel, Manuel Fuchs, Alexander Satman, and Linus Krieger to complete the top 10. Then Rancagno, Barto, Felder, Pastrana, Hagman. Both Barto and Pastrana that also didn't pit. Michael Frey, Inkausti, and Crochet to complete the field, although only Michael Frey was eligible for points. Final 2 were DNFs. In a hypercar field, we've got Ard Erkan, Alex Siebel, and Sven Gilhead in the podium, 3 different cars in the podium. Then Kobe Chan, Daniel Gottschalk in 5th, Ethan Faulkner, Moritz Zurich, Paul Nuski, Mika Patush, Team Flag in 10th, then Bachmeier, Vanner, Nonmacher, Benzler, Dobos, and O'Sullivan to complete the 16 cars field, although many of them were not eligible for points considering the DNFs they received. And in all of this, it has to be mentioned, because it's important to say it, that Patrick Bachmeier, the last that was eligible for points, actually completed the race even after missing a wheel at the very first lap. And he still managed to complete the race in a points eligible position. Let's see if the overalls have changed. Not yet, so for now I will just put the classification on in the GT3, because we've got Niklas Huben, the winner in GT3, and for now the only one that appeared in the interview room. So we'll just move him up if nobody else shows up. Welcome, Niklas. Welcome in the commentary room. Welcome here. Oh, you were muted. Okay. Congratulations on the win.
Yeah, thank you.
It was well, practically you are getting used to be here at this point. I can just give you the key and you can just join the voice channel at this point, since you are winning so much.
Yeah, last week I missed out a bit stupid. But yeah, we're back now. Hopefully we stay here a couple more times. So yeah.
Yeah, you had a quite normal race compared to the rest of your field, because I noticed some were actually fuel saving, some were actually not pitting at all, some were pitting for only fuel. You instead went for a more traditional tactic. Have you ever thought about maybe go for a different one, or were you just so sure about your own pace that you just went for a safe approach?
I just had 2 options, to be fair. I thought no stop would be no option, but as we saw, it's a viable option as it seems. But my 2 options were not saving or not changing tires, or changing 2 tires. And in the end, I decided if I have track position enough or enough room to the guys behind me, if I can change or not, and then just go for the safe one and change the tires.
I think you are really enjoying your Lamborghini. I know that maybe there has already been one, or it's in the progress, a different BOP. Are you concerned about that, or are you pretty safe about the fact that you can race with this car quite easily?
Yeah, last week would have been a good win. So in the case of the Bob change, there's no major issues. But yeah, I think there will be Bob changes, and then it's just damage limitation or whatever you want to call it. Yeah, I think then I won't be in here as much as I am now.
And final question for you. I think you quite enjoyed it, but something that I honestly never asked. You were in the lead at the very beginning, but not by a huge margin. When eventually, consider this is a pretty short track compared to the usual. When the hypercars started to approach, what was your way of thinking? Like about giving more space, maybe going a bit more cautious, or going full aggressive because you still were in the battle for the lead effectively?
Yeah, I mean, we have quite some experience now on this track, and we know the 1 or 2 places where it's very unpleasant to have a hypercar, even especially around your outside, and there you are a bit more cautious, but in the end, yeah, just stay alive and helps more than trying to be more aggressive and dying.
Seems like a good way of thinking. The standings have also been updated, and I can see here that you are leading by about 170 points. How are you feeling about it?
I would love to lead by a bit more, but yeah, that's good so far. Let's see how the rest of the season goes.
Never enough. It's never enough.
Yeah.
So yeah, for now, still for now, because obviously conditional, you are leading, and the gap is quite there. I think you can still have a good remaining of the season, but we will see as the season progresses. I think I already asked you this question, but honestly I can't remember the exact answer. Is there a track in which you are scared, consider now you are leading, maybe you can go a bit more cautious, or are you pretty sure about the entire calendar?
Depends what you mean with scared. If you mean scared with I don't like a track, then Power Car is my number one on that list.
In that case, yeah.
But the rest is fine.
Cool. I like your confidence, I'll be honest.
We will see if that helps or not.
No. I like it because I will also be like you. So not in a bad way. I like it because it means that you know what you are doing. So it also are showing. So again, congratulations for your win. Congratulations for this start of the season. Still 2/3 to go, and have a good remaining of the season. And to the next race.
Thank you. Hopefully see you next week.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
And that is Nicholas Huben. Unfortunately, nobody else is joining the interview room. So... Oh, hey, the top racing live also rated. And also, yes, Barnico, it was insane from 10th to 2nd. It was a very good race for Bessia, but unfortunately, I can't ask them. So I will just leave myself with a thought. Also remember, prize championship, so that's why I was mentioning the standings. More than €1,000 coupon at Simverse.com by Trustmaster, to be exact, €1,250. €750 coupon at Simverse by Next Level Racing, and a €500 coupon at Simverse by Moser Racing for the final place in the podium for both classes. The calendar syncs with that's CC with Imola at the Italian racetrack at the next week, where I'll be also doing commentary because John will be doing it on Tuesday, but then the next two first. But anyway, you will know. In ACC, as I already showed it, that's the next stream in ACC, and that's going to be Paul Ricard for an hour, and then Silverstone to the midpoint of the season in ACC. In the end, I was Cristiano Romano, obviously thanks to also the Hypercar standings, where Kobe-chan is leading by 20 points on Sven Kiloed, so the gap is reducing, and Arda Erkan 50 points or so, and Alex Sibel follows another 50 behind, so the gaps are getting less and less in the hypercar field. This is getting interesting in the hypercar. But now I can effectively say, thanks to all of our partners, to Simverse, to Moser Racing, to Next Level Racing, to Taskmaster, to ACC Drive, to KSking.de, and to Go Setups, all of them that help massively the community, to the Patreon that effectively help the development of LFM as a community, to all of the viewers, to everybody that follows the race in past broadcasts. Thank you so much. I was Cristiano Romano. Have a good evening, good night, wherever you are in the world. And see you next time. Bye.